Art from An Adventure with Thumbelina, your lovely garden that you've designed for bloom.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah,
You've called it Thumbelina.
yeah. Well, it's kind of came from a kind of a childhood thing, a childhood memory of this fantasy on this kind of surreal world, and just exploring just different spaces and just.
Okay, so can you explain what you've done in your garden to give the idea of Thumbelina?
Yeah, well, basically, I wanted to create the feeling of being small in a big world. So the idea of the oversized sculpted flowers, which I made myself, and the kind of out of proportion huge grasses, and it's just kind of to create this kind of a wonderland.
Now, when you say you made these flowers, I mean, these are very strong steel flowers. Am I correct?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. You see, my father has an engineering business, so he has a lot of off-cut metal after. He makes outdoor lighting, but what I do is I get the flowers, and I don't have an idea in my head what they're going to be like until they're finished. So it kind of comes naturally to me, you could say.
Can we just show to camera the big flower behind you, because
no
you are about 6'1" or something,
I'm about 6'3". Yeah.
And this flower is actually making you look a very small guy.
Yeah, well, that was the whole idea, to create this oversized space. I mean, the garden itself is only 5 by 5 meters, and it's quite difficult to create something kind of an enclosure or try to work with. So I just felt you have to go big, So that's the whole idea.
Absolutely. I'm going to pass you over to Susan here, who might talk to you about the plants in the garden.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've got enormous plants, so there's not much I can say about those, except I think they'd look great in any garden. You've used mostly you've used entirely the grass family with the bamboos and other grasses. So which bamboos have you used?
Well, I've used, towards the back, I've used some of the more orange bamboos, and I've used this one here behind us is a more dense Fregesia Lafir, which I kind of supplied. I found it difficult actually to get the height that I required. I was originally going to work with Miscanthus and that, but I had trouble growing them with the frost and that, so it was difficult. So that's the idea was to create this dense grassed area that you get the feeling of this Thumbelina world, and towards the front then I have some more ferns, like of this Dixonia Antarctica, and of some Miscanthus Morning Light, just to create the grass effect, and to create a very evergreen and low maintenance.
Well, it's worked fantastically, because I think you needed to do that very simple planting just with the one family, really, with these huge flowers. Yeah. There's one other thing I wanted to pick up on, which is your paving, this resin bonded gravel. How effective and easy did you find that?
Yeah, that actually a friend of mine did that for me. He laid it down. It's very easy to work with. You just all you need is just a solid base underneath it, and you mix it like cement with resin and stone, and you just spread it out, and it's just so well. It gives such a nice clean finish to the garden,
I think it's terrific, because not only that, but it is actually porous as well, so you don't get that entire water runoff. So it's for a driveway or something. Also,
it's perfect for driveways and walkways and anything like that,
And easily to get the curves with its metal strip edge on it.
The metal edging I made myself. It was just kind of a DIY job. But
excellent, well done, Jack.
Thank you very.
And Jack, have you had a very good response to your garden? I'd say particularly families passing you by now here with children and stuff say, I'd love this in the garden. Yeah,
well, especially kids, they love the adventure. They love the hidden area here, They love the idea of the flowers, and, they love, it just appeals to them so well because of this fairy tale area,
And that's a great way of trying to get children out into the garden, out into outdoor spaces, rather than being stuck inside watching the telly all day.
Exactly. To interact with the garden is what I wanted people to do here. It's all about coming out and enjoying the space and just having a marvel at all the flowers and that.
Well, Jack, anybody who'd be looking to contact you now and thinking, they might be thinking, I'd love to create this in my garden. How can they do that?
Well, I'm still a student, so I'm kind of only new to the whole process. But I work by email and mobile at the moment. But eventually now I'll have a website, and I'm going to start making some more of these flowers. I've got some great responses. I've actually sold a lot of them so far. So
isn't that fantastic? And what's your email address for anybody watching?
Yeah, it's Jack My Harte, so it's JackMyHarte @hotmail.com.
Well, Jack Harte from An Adventure with Thumbelina at Bloom, many thanks for talking to us on Gardenville.tv.